want to say that was the last year the team was good, but yes.
Just a quick reminder,
Check the
please.
record. Check
Just
the
a quick
record.
reminder, please turn off your cell phone volumes and do not do any live broadcasts on social, please. Thank you.
Good, Alex. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our match management conference ahead of Canada's match against Guatemala. We're joined by MLS Canada head coach of the men's national team, Jesse Marsch, and player Joel Waterman. We'll start with questions in the room. KJ, you want to kick it off? We got a mic over here, I believe. Right here.
Thanks, John. Christian, Jack, Wansaka. Jesse, question to you, first of all. Can you just take us into your mind and your approach ahead of this game? Obviously, it's an unusual match for Canada to play so early in January, but having Joel here and many of your regulars, how will you approach the team selection ahead of the game against Guatemala?
Yeah, I think we'll get a blend of, a bit of the best guys we have available and some of the established guys like Joel, and then mix in a few younger, newer players to the national team and kind of see if we can get that blend right, and then be ready to use a lot of guys from the bench. So, but we're going into this match. I've said it's a developmental game. That's definitely the case. But we're going into this match wanting to win.
And just a question for Joel. Joel, obviously, probably the last time you get to play a CONCACAF nation before the World Cup. But for those younger players that get a chance, what will you tell them to prepare them for a game like this that has a number of different elements?
Yeah, just go and enjoy it first and foremost. A lot of these guys might get their first cap, and I remember when I got my first cap, it was one of the best days of my life, and for them to get that opportunity, just to seize it, just do everything they can to seize it, enjoy the moment, work hard. They obviously know our identity as a team and how we like to play. So they've done a great job this week in preparing themselves for that opportunity, and they're going to do great.
Matthew
Schneider with TSN. Jesse, who's your captain tomorrow?
Richie.
Joel, how have you seen your responsibilities with the national team develop under Jesse? How has he challenged you? And Jesse, how have you seen Joel grow over the last 18 months?
I want to hear this answer.
Yeah. It started about a year and a half ago, I think, starting with Copa America. I got to taste what his identity was and how he wanted to play. And not only me personally, but the team has grown so much since then. We've talked at length about some things I need to work on my game that I've taken seriously over this last year and a half, and there's been no shortage of opportunities that he's given me to put on the national team jersey and to play games. So I just thank you for that. And then it's just about adaptation. I think I've just adapted my game to play in different ways. Obviously, I knew my strengths, but then I really just attacked my weaknesses, and he pushed me in that area to go at it organically and just over time, and gave me the patience to work on those things. So it's been a really good basically year and a half, and it's going to continue all the way up to the World Cup and after.
Joe?
What I would say is, I felt Joel played too passively, and I thought he defended too passively. And I think he was doing that because he underestimated his athleticism. And what I tried to say to him is, what I've seen from defenders at the highest level is that if you try to protect yourself from areas that you think maybe you're not at the highest level, you're going to open yourself up to be exposed for exactly those things. So we worked a lot more on his aggressive forward defending. We worked a lot more on his aggressive 1v1 defending. We challenged him to not be so worried about space behind, and that when he did get beat behind, that he was ready to sprint and cover ground at the rate that he needed to. And I think that what he found is that actually when he played more aggressive, that he could actually show more his strengths than he would expose his weaknesses. And I think then his confidence and his game grew from there, both with the national team and with his club team. And so I think that Joel's a great example of what he calls adaptation. But I've tried to do this with all the guys, is to up their overall understanding of what the highest levels look like and how aggression fits into that, and making sure that when you're front-footed, whether it's with the ball, whether it's against the ball, whether it's set pieces, whether it's transition moments, that being the aggressor is always putting you in a position to win duels, to see things faster, to play faster, and to be on top of the match. And Joel, because he's intelligent, I think has used that to his benefit in a great way.
Joe?
Jesse, Joe Callahan, Toronto Star. First, quick one on Oso. Is he fully fit to start? I know that he was kind of feeling his way into the week.
He is fit to start.
Okay. And then secondly, was chatting with Joel this week. He recounted right around when Junior got injured before the Copa America, he reached out and texted you and said, I think I can kind of come in here and really help you guys in this tournament. I just wondered that kind of, so early in your tenure, that kind of assertiveness and confidence. Can you remember that moment and your impression?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, he didn't even really know me that much. You know, none of the guys really knew me then. But I think as they have gotten to know me, first of all, I appreciate personality and I appreciate confidence, and that I'm a pretty approachable guy. Without him knowing all of those details, I think that helped his case. And look, we replaced an attacker with a defender. And part of the reason was because I thought that Joel was already on the board and was already one of the guys that was on the bubble, but that may have played a factor, you know? I mean, I like the fact that he did that. And then I still thought that Joel had a lot of the qualities that would fit with what we wanted to be. And that's turned out to be the case.
Here in the front.
Hi, Coach. How to represent to play to Guatemala? And can you talking about the case to Marcelo Flores and he to decide to play to Canada national team?
So first against Guatemala, we're excited for this match. They've brought a really good team. We're expecting a very difficult match, a very combative match. We are very aware of what kind of team Guatemala is. For the guys that have been around, I think they'll be ready for it. For some of the new guys, I think it'll be a challenge for them to understand how scrappy, how competitive, how hardworking the Guatemala team is. The Marcelo Flores thing, I want to reiterate, Marcelo wants to be here. He wants to be here. And I made a mistake in assessing exactly what this match would be available for him and for some others. But his commitment to play for Canada right now is really high. The reason why he hasn't made the one-time switch is because I haven't asked him to. I've kind of asked him to take his time in evaluating this. I don't want any of the dual nationals that we've been recruiting, I don't want any of them to feel like I'm pressuring them or I'm cornering them to make a decision or they're not welcome. Or I tried to treat this as a family decision, a life decision, and to make sure that when players make the decision to be here, that they're doing it on their own accord, because there's no guarantee that they're going to be part of the national team. Yeah, they're going to have to earn it still. And so whether it's Daniel Jebison or when Nico Segur or Promise David, I never said to them, if you come, you're going to go to the World Cup. I said, it's a good team, it's competitive, but we think that the way we play can help you. And if you find yourself compelled to be Canadian and to be part of this, then we think you would be a good addition. But you're going to have to fight for everything because the squad is good. So that's essentially where the Marcelo situation is at. I still know we're going to have a conversation once the camp is done, but I still know he has a very, very high level of interest of being part of the Canadian national team.
Here in the middle.
Edward Kowich with LA Times. Jesse, with 5 months left before the World Cup, how are you personally feeling when you chose to be a coach? Is this how you imagine it was going to be coaching before a World Cup?
Yeah, in general, I'm very calm, and a big reason why is I think that a lot of the work that's been done with the team has been very good. I think the players have been incredibly committed to me being here, to the process of what we're creating. And I think that they've all seen the benefits of what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. So, and then, it's still, I'm used to having 3 to 4 days to prep for an opponent, and now we have 6-7 months. So, and we're only on 2 opponents right now. So right now we feel like we have a really good grasp of both Qatar and Switzerland, and we'll be waiting for that March match. Or matches, and in general, I know that there's going to be big expectations with the home World Cup, but again, I feel like where I sit, I'm very calm. I'm very relaxed. I feel very confident and strong about what we've built and the team we have. And I know that even being at World Cup as an assistant, I know how challenging those matches are and how competitive they are. But I feel like the foundation that's been created, and then the match plans and the preparation that we will create will set us up for success.
We're going to take a few questions on Zoom. We'll start with Neil Davidson. Neil, go ahead.
There's subtle differences. Obviously you're the last man back now. You're last line back. So, any little mistake, it ends up in the back of your net. Whereas a 6, you kind of have that leeway. If you don't get to the ball, you make a mistake, your backline's there kind of to bail you out. So there's a subtle difference there. But for me, I always try to keep it in, my mind, you're basically the same position, but 10, 15 yards back. But obviously the way we play, it's a really, really high line as well. So you got to defend the space. But on the ball, it's very, very similar, depending on if you play in a back 3 or a back 4. But he's been great. I had the opportunity to play with him in our inter squad the other day, and he was fantastic. He's good on the ball. He's physical. He's aggressive. Even for his size, he's been doing really well in that position. So there's little subtle differences. I think that will take time, and it definitely took me time to understand. But he's definitely on the right track.
Yeah, and it's funny. I saw him maybe halfway through the season. And I joked with him that, we're going to call him in at some point, and that I see him as a 6, not as a center back. And then he continued to have a really good season at center back and go to the final, MLS Cup, and play really well in the playoffs. And we've basically only used him as a center back. So, I look at him now. Right now, I think it's most beneficial for him with this experience and with his club experience to be a center back. And what Joel says is pretty accurate, I think. He's a smart guy, so he understands concepts really well, and I think he's thrown himself at the idea of what we need at center back, and he's been quite good this week. So, he'll get his chance to play, I suppose, on tomorrow, and we'll be excited for it.
Last question, Carlos Benitez.
Thank you, John. My question is to Jesse. Jesse, with the coming call-ups being decisive in shaping the squad for the World Cup, as you mentioned, Tier 1, Tier 2, do you see any CPL players included in an invitation-only role, kind of like Marcelo Flores? And speaking of CPL, also, Joel, how does it feel having Tommy Woodland Jr. On the squad, as a guest coach?
You can go first.
Tommy and I go way back to 2019, actually even 2018 when I was with Foothills, and he's an amazing guy. I love him. I love him as a coach, as a human being. I know his family really well. So, we've talked a couple times this week, and he's told me he's enjoyed the week a lot, just getting used to kind of our identity and what it means to be a part of the national team. And he's just an amazing human being. We always keep in touch, basically every month. And it was kind of funny. I posted a story the other day, and he was in the background of one of the pictures. So it's kind of like a full circle moment for both of us, and for us to be a part of this and kind of going through it together this week. It's been really fun.
Yeah, and then look, we have quite a few CPL graduates in the overall player pool already, including Joel. We're going to see some CPL players on the pitch tomorrow, and they'll have their chance to make a case that they'll be ready for what the summer will bring. I wouldn't rule anyone out. I told the team from the beginning that everyone at the camp has an opportunity to show well and to make a point to the coaching staff that they can be ready even 6 months from now. Obviously, that's a bit of a bigger challenge for guys that haven't been around in this being their first camp than someone like Joel that's been a part of the program for many years. But at the same time, we're looking for the best 26 players to give us the best chance to compete at this World Cup, and anyone that shows that they're up to the challenge and ready to perform at that level will be heavily considered. So we're excited for tomorrow to give some new players a chance to put a good performance together, to play against a good opponent that we know will make it very difficult on us. These are all the things that I hope to get out of these kinds of situations, and I expect, again, our team to be ready to deliver a very good performance.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Merci à tous.
Thank you. No, he was captain.